Spellcasting, one of the most interesting and unique parts of D&D. Sure, lots of other tabletop RPGs have spellcasting and magic. They all have their specific rules for it too. But when it comes to D&D spellcasting, there's just something special about it, unique. It just feels potent. But because of that fact, a lot of people oftentimes feel like the spellcasters are just same old, same old. Sure, they can all have their unique spell lists and make their specific choices, but we've all seen it time and time again, right? We all know what to expect. So how do you make a spellcaster feel special, more important, unique, and stand out from the crowd? Well, that's what I'd like to talk about today. So let's talk about that. When it comes to making a spellcaster feel unique, it's important to remember in the context of the world what spellcasting is. Spellcasting is manipulating the weave of magic underneath everything and causing it to do things it wouldn't ordinarily do. It's plucking at the specific strings, it's figuring out the certain movements, or if you're somebody like a sorcerer, it's about just literally breaking it to make it do what you want. And then there's the case of divine casters who get their magic actually from an extraplanar deity or somebody much more powerful who has the ability to manipulate the weave themselves for you, or at least give you the power to do so. The point I'm trying to make is it comes from a huge amount of different places, different ways. Even if there are two spellcasters in the world in a world-building context, nobody's going to be able to cast magic in the same ways. And it's that very core concept that helps us find out how to make a unique feeling spellcaster in order to be able to stand up from a crowd of a game full of spellcasters. Here's an example. Let's say, for example, two magic casters are casting the same spell, Haste. A wizard will pull the materials out of their pocket, or perhaps they'll have an arcane focus. They'll draw unique and specific sigils in the air and blast that energy towards somebody so that they are enraptured and they're hasted. How about a sorcerer? A sorcerer doesn't cast the same way a wizard does. While they still need to use material components or an arcane focus, they do not cast through specific movements or knowledge. They cast through the pure force of their personality, their charisma. And so while they may also have the material components or an arcane focus, rather than specifically doing these specific movements, they'll focus on what they're doing, draw from the core energy, and it explodes out of them, hasting whatever it is they're looking at. The same spell, but different. But it can even go into more specifics. There are material components for every single spell. Well, not every single one, but a lot of them. And when you reach into your pocket to pull those out, what do you do with those items? Caleb from Critical Role is an amazing example of somebody who uses those spells and those components to put a lot of flavor into what they're doing.
Because I can. I take a bit of phosphorus and squelch it through my hand and cast Wall of Fire across the entire length of the boat between them and us.
That's what we're going to pick up next week.
Meanwhile, let's take a look at the sorcerer. Maybe they're using their arcane focus to be able to cast what it is that they're doing, but they're not just focusing on it. The power literally radiates through them, and you can see their veins glowing as it goes into the sigil, and as they shake, barely able to contain the magic, it bursts out towards something. The point is, there's a difference in how they cast those spells. And we can even go a step further. It's based off the flavor of what you're doing. Are you an ice mage? Well, then focus on that. When you cast, everything freezes around you and begins to grow frost on your eyebrows and your face. Or say you're a wizard who specifically focuses on necromancy. So sure, you cast spells, same as any other wizard. But while a wizard who may be able to cast spells may be trying to draw sigils in the air and fire them out, you focus on the dead. You gain power from that. And so you drop down and carve your materials into the dirt beneath you. And you pull into your pocket the ashes of a dead individual and sprinkle it over it to give it power. There are many differences you can do in how you create a unique spellcaster. And then, of course, we can focus on what spells you've chosen. That's the easiest way to create a unique spellcaster. Every spellcaster has to choose their spells, and while yes, a lot of them we see a lot, Fireball, Cure Wounds, Haste, these are all staples because they're very good, it doesn't mean that the way you choose your spells doesn't have to feel unique. A lot of people will choose their spells and flavor them very specifically based off of how they want their character to feel. I recently played a Witch Doctor, and while I didn't end up casting any spells, I played a Paladin Witch Doctor, and so I just ended up smiting the whole time. When I used my different abilities such as Lay on Hands, instead of just randomly having the ability to lay on hands and healing, I had them crush up herbs and imbue their divine power into that and rub that across different people's wounds, which worked a lot. So think about the specific ways you're going to be casting your magic, and focus on that. So at the end of the day, magic casting can feel very unique, but it's based off of how your character learned this stuff. There are many people in the world who can do the same thing. Think about medical practitioners. All of them learned the same thing, the medical field, but It's way different for each of them. There are different fields of study, there are different techniques, there are different ways of doing things. A lot of people even develop their own techniques in order to be able to do things better. Or how about people who play sports? Sure, they all do the same thing. They hit a ball or throw it or whatever, but how do they do those things? There are many baseball players who have gotten famous over specific pitching techniques or batting techniques or different ways to run. The point is, just because you're all doing the same thing doesn't mean it has to feel the same. Everybody learns a different way, even if they're all doing the same skill. So find out what makes your character unique in what you're doing, and lean into that, and it'll make your character feel a whole lot more unique. So go out into the world, make it your own, you beautiful bastards. Don't forget to have a great day, and never forget to play a role. Thank you. Come again.